Hello. In this video we're going to continue to work on factoring trinomials. And so in number 1, if I use my grouping method, I still need to find numbers that multiply to make 12 and that would add to make negative 8. Numbers that multiply to 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, or 3 and 4. But they have to multiply to a positive 12 but add to a negative 8, so that must mean that both of these have to be negative, because negative times a negative would make a positive. So negative 1, negative 12, negative 2, negative 6, or negative 3, negative 4. And of those options, negative 2 and negative 6 are the numbers that add to negative 8. And so let's rewrite this polynomial in order to solve it by group, or factor it by grouping, excuse me. So we have x squared minus 2x minus 6x plus 12. Remember, these two terms add to make that negative 8 in the middle. And then we can go through our grouping steps. So I'll group together the first two and the last two with that plus sign in the middle. And our GCF from the first set is x, leaving us with x minus 2, plus our GCF from the second set will take out a negative 6, since the 6x is negative, leaving us with, again, x minus 2. Now, the x minus 2's are what are the same, so we'll have x minus 2 times x minus 6. And if we FOILed that together, then we would end up with x squared minus 8x plus 12. And I can show you that. So x times x times negative 6, negative 2 times x, then negative 2 times negative 6. And you can see how these would combine to make your negative 8x. Now, the big thing to show here is that this negative 2 and negative 6 were the numbers we chose, and in the parentheses, along with x and x, we got negative 2 and negative 6 as well. That should work every time that we have that 1 in front of our x squared. So just like number 2, we have the same situation going on. We need numbers that multiply to negative 63 but add to 2. Things that multiply to negative 63, 1 and 63. 2 doesn't go in, but 3 does, 21 times. 7 goes in, 9 times. So just those three options, but remember they have to multiply to a negative 63, so one of these must be negative. Well, to result in a 2, a positive 2, my bigger number must be positive, so it must be a negative 1, a negative 3, or a negative 7. And in this case, it's the negative 7 and positive 9 that would work here. And so instead of going through my full grouping steps, what I'll do is, I'll just open my two sets of parentheses right now to make it look like what it's going to look like at the end. We're undoing FOIL, so what multiplies to make x squared? And then you need numbers that multiply to make negative 63 at the end. And that negative 7 and positive 9 are the numbers that do exactly that. And if we FOIL this together, x times x times 9, negative 7 times x, negative 7 times 9, and again, our middle terms combine to make a positive 2. So this is the factored form. A little bit quicker method than going through your full grouping steps. Now, it doesn't work quite the same speed with number 3 if we were going to try to do it that way. If I were to make my two sets of parentheses, I need numbers at the front that multiply to make 3x squared. These are the firsts, right? In my first, x times x are what made the x squared. Now, we're lucky enough that 3 is prime, so there's only one option, 3x and x. Now, the back numbers have to multiply to make 6. Those are our lasts. And so things that multiply to 6, 6 is not prime. We have 1 and 6, or 2 and 3 as options. And so we have to figure out which of those numbers to choose first, and then where to put them. Now, we're going to have to basically do some guess and check here to figure this out. So if I put in a let me put the plus 2 here, and I'll put the plus 3 there. We can test this by foiling, but 3x times x makes 3x squared. 3x times 2 gets me a plus 6. 3 times x makes 3x. Then 3 times 2 makes 6. And so right now this combines to make 3x squared plus 9x plus 6, which is not the same thing as what we have, a plus 11. So we need to try something else. So let me start again. I'll do it over here this time. 3x and x. I'm going to try the 3 and the 2 again, but this time let me switch their spots. So I'll do a plus 2 here and a plus 3 there. And you can see how this is going to change when we do this. 3x times x, 3x times 3. This time it's a 9x right there already. 2 times x, and 2 times 3. And so when we combine like terms now, 9x plus 2x, it does make 11x. So this right here is the factored form of number 3. Because if we FOIL it together, we're going to go right back to where we were. So again, we found numbers that multiplied at the front to make 3x squared, numbers at the back that multiplied to make 6, and then we had to manipulate them in order so that when we FOILed, they added to make 11. And again, that's all because of the 3 that's sitting in front of the x squared. Okay, for now we're done.